Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're taking something that literally stresses out millions of people, and we're finally replacing all the fiction with hard, mathematical facts. We're going to completely demystify your financial profile by busting the billion-dollar credit score myths.
Now, right before we jump in, just a quick disclaimer. This explainer is strictly for educational purposes, okay? We're looking purely at the mechanics of the credit system today, so this is not personalized financial advice. Your individual situation is totally unique, so definitely always consult a licensed financial professional before making any massive credit decisions. All right, let's get into it. 72%. Honestly, that number should stop you cold. Nearly 3 in 4 Americans are currently operating under a mathematically false assumption about how carrying a credit card balance actually affects their credit score. They either think it helps them or they're just completely unsure.
And the real-world consequence of that false assumption? It's massive. We're talking about billions of dollars in totally unnecessary interest being paid every single year by consumers who genuinely, mistakenly think they're doing the right thing to build their credit. This isn't just a harmless little misunderstanding. It's an incredibly expensive one.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the billion-dollar problem, then cover the 5 FICO factors, and then we're busting myths around balances and checks, old cards and income, and finally 850 scores and collections. We'll wrap the whole thing up with the real credit playbook. I promise you, by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a complete, mathematically sound guide to your credit.
Okay, Section 1. The billion-dollar problem and the true cost of credit myths.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 5 FICO factors. Let's look at how scores actually work.
All right, so here is the exact algorithm behind your FICO score. It's really just 5 factors. The 2 absolute biggest pieces of the pie here are payment history at 35% and credit utilization at 30%. Think about that. Together, those 2 things control a massive 65% of your score. Payment history is pretty straightforward, right? It's literally just, do you pay your bills on time? Just one 30-day late payment can tank your score by 50 to 100 points. Then there's utilization, which is basically how much of your available credit you're actually using. So if you have a $10,000 limit and a $3,000 balance, well, that's 30%, and lower is always better. The rest of the slices are length of credit history at 15%, and then credit mix and new credit coming in at 10% each. That's it. That's the entire scoring system. There's absolutely no magic here. It's just math.
That brings us to Section 3, balances and checks. Time to start busting some of the most common myths out there.
Look, this right here is easily the most expensive myth in all of personal finance. The myth is that carrying a small balance actually helps your score. But the absolute truth is that paying your balance in full every single month is optimal. So many people think that if they pay it completely down to zero, the credit bureaus are going to think they aren't using the card. Guys, that is completely provably false. Your card issuer reports your balance once a month, right? And what actually matters is that reported balance relative to your total limit, your utilization. Carrying a balance forward into the next month does absolutely nothing to improve your score. What it does do, especially right now with average credit card APRs sitting way up around 20 to 22%, is literally drain your wallet. It's going to cost you hefty interest charges, and it actually raises your utilization, which actively hurts your score. The absolutely crucial takeaway here, pay it off in full. Your score and your bank account will definitely thank you.
Next up is this huge fear people have about checking their own score. So checking your own score is what's called a soft inquiry. And a soft inquiry has absolutely zero impact on your score. Honestly, you could check it every single day, and it's never going to drop even a single point. Now, a hard inquiry, that happens when you formally apply for new credit, like a mortgage or a car loan. And yeah, that does cause a temporary 5 to 10 point drop. But this crazy myth that just checking your own credit hurts you, it scared millions of people away from monitoring their own finances. Regularly checking your score is absolutely essential so you can catch errors or even fraud early on.
All right, Section 4, old cards and income. Let's debunk some of these logic traps we fall into.
Let's walk through the concrete math on why closing an old credit card can be super dangerous. Because, it feels so logical to just close a card you aren't using anymore, right? Well, let's say, before closing a card, you have 2 cards with a combined total limit of $10,000 and a total balance of $2,000. So your utilization is a really healthy 20%. But then, you decide to close one of the cards just because you want to simplify things. Instantly, your total available limit drops down to, let's say, $5,000. But you still have that exact same $2,000 balance hanging around. Boom! Your utilization just spiked to 40%. You literally just slashed your available credit in half and pushed your utilization into a danger zone that's going to drop your score. Instead of doing that, just keep the account open. A great trick is to put a small recurring charge on it, maybe like a streaming subscription, and then just pay it off automatically every month. That keeps the history alive without the risk.
And here's another pretty shocking number for you. 67%. That is the percentage of people who incorrectly think their personal income actually affects their credit score. This one really surprises a lot of high earners. But let me be crystal clear here. Your FICO score measures exactly one thing, and that is how responsibly you use the credit you're given. It doesn't know what your salary is, and frankly, it doesn't care. Not a single one of the 5 factors we looked at earlier has anything to do with your income. What that means is a minimum wage earner who pays every bill on time and keeps their utilization super low can easily outscore someone making 6 figures who misses payments and maxes out their cards.
Moving to Section 5, 850 scores and collections. We're calling this one the perfection trap.
So if we look at the average early 2025 auto loan rates, it shows exactly why having good credit matters so much. Super prime borrowers, so people with a score of 781 and above, they're paying about 5.08% right now. But subprime borrowers, folks down in the 500s, they are paying nearly 13%. On a standard car loan, that spread represents over $8,000 in extra interest. So yeah, your credit absolutely matters. But here is the most crucial takeaway. That super prime bracket, it really starts around the 760 to 780 mark. Most lenders are going to offer you their absolute best pricing tier starting right at 760. The benefit curve completely flattens out dramatically after that point. So stressing yourself out trying to squeeze from a 790 to an 820 or chasing that perfect 850, it offers virtually no extra financial reward. Once you hit 760, you have essentially won the game when it comes to interest rate savings. Everything above that is literally just for bragging rights.
Now, for a really painful myth. The idea that paying off an old collection instantly, magically removes it from your credit report. Sadly, it doesn't. Collections stick around on your report for 7 whole years, from the original delinquency date. And that's regardless of whether you end up paying them off or not. And here is the seriously counterintuitive danger of all this. If you pay a 5-year-old collection today, it might actually update the date of last activity to today's date. On some of the older lending models that are still used, a recent collection can actually hurt your score way more than an old one. Now, it doesn't restart that 7-year clock, but it makes the bad mark look super fresh to the algorithm. So always be careful. Definitely ask your lender what to do if you have a huge application coming up, like a mortgage. And you might want to try to negotiate what's called a pay for delete first before you just hand over the cash.
Finally, we're at Section 6, the real credit playbook. Let's get down to the mathematical facts.
All right, let's rapid fire through this definitive 5-step playbook. Step 1, pay on time every single time. Honestly, just set up autopay for at least the minimum balance so you never, ever miss a due day. Remember, payment history is 35% of the whole pie. Step 2, keep your utilization under 30%, but ideally you want it under 10%. Paying down your balances is literally the fastest lever you can pull to increase your score. Step 3, do not close those old accounts. You've got to protect the length of your credit history. Step 4, avoid hard inquiries before major applications. Please don't apply for a random store credit card 3 months before you try to buy a house. And Step 5, check and dispute report errors using annualcreditreport.com. Oh, and here's a quick bonus tip for you. Use apps like Experian Boost. They actually give you credit for things you're already paying on time anyway, like rent and utility bills, and it can meaningfully lift your profile.
I want to leave you all with this final thought today. Credit really isn't a mystery. It's just math. Once you actually understand those 5 factors, improving your score becomes a super straightforward process. It's time to stop carrying balances for no reason. Stop closing old cards. Start actively checking your score. Now, I do have a question for you. Which of these myths did you actually believe? Go ahead and drop a comment down below right now. There's absolutely no shame in it. We've all been there. Let's just see how many people we managed to help out today. And hey, if this explainer helped clear up some financial fiction for you, please do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe for more myth-busting content. Keep learning, stay focused on your goals, and I'll see you in the next explainer.